Welcome to this next episode of YouTube where we're doing some final fall tasks, and that includes draining the pond in the exhibit pack. The exhibit pack will still have water. They have 2 heated waters that are used during the winter season, and those are providing, again, a constant supply of water that is thawed for the winter season. So the pond is not winterproof, so that means that we don't have the lines insulated enough to be able to keep them from freezing and splitting and creating major issues with water flow. So we drain it in the winter, and typically this time of the year, what's interesting about the pond this time of the year is we've had cold enough nights throughout October that it kills all the algae, and the pond is actually the clearest that it'll ever be during the year, during that October season, because it's not warm, it's not growing algae, so therefore it's despite our algae treatments, it's still clear in October. So we've got some really nice reflective views here on a really calm afternoon when we drain the pond. So what you see is Luna and Boats up on the top. They're actually quite excited about the pond being drained because that gives them access to scent rolling into algae-filled rocks, and so that's what they're doing there in the upper pond. As soon as the pump is shut off, it allows the water to drain, and then they get to interact. Aiden and Denali are not quite as curious, but they do still investigate. We actually did find some minnows that had been placed in the pond in probably mid-June that were thriving there. They were until we drained it, obviously. The wolves made pretty short work of those minnows at the bottom of the pond. But the leaves are gone for the most part. Color is over. We've got a few kind of last holdouts and some of the maples that still have some vegetation on them. The wolves have a full winter coat. They're interacting quite well. Actually, the dynamics of this pack is quite good. They are getting along well. There's not seeming to be too many issues with each other. As long as we keep Luna with a good supply of food, she's fairly happy, so that makes everybody else happy. So as I said, they're moving around the exhibit quite a bit. They're interacting well. They're playing, socializing, chasing each other, just being active wolves. This time of the year is when wolf exhibits really increase in activity, much more than they do in the summertime. So this is Aiden going to the top of the den. We've been watching Luna's leg condition to see if there's any indication that she's having any pain in this colder weather. She seems to be moving quite well. As a matter of fact, she sits on these cold rocks and seems to have no issue with it whatsoever. So we're fairly happy with that. She is stalking things. She is interacting. And this is another fall ritual. We had a local, 2 local individuals who raised up some organic pigs, and these particular pig hides are frozen for a few weeks and then brought into the enclosure, giving the wolves a little bit of unusual stimulus. And you can see here, this is Luna's actually first pig hide interaction. She's very thrilled about it. She likes to lick blood. She likes to guard things. She's got a pig's ear right there. This one happens to be attached to a hide of a pig, and she's definitely defending it. She actually slept all day long in front of this, in front of the windows next to this pig hide. And Denali, I can see here, is just giving her a wide berth. Feeding rights are very important. She's doing a threat display and keeping him at bay, although you notice her tail is tucked. This is a little uncomfortable for her to be surrounded by him. So she, by the next day, she kind of gave it up, and these hides are scattered throughout the enclosure, and the ravens will interact with them, the wolves will interact with them, and again, it gives a good stimulus for the wolves. Nothing went to waste, certainly, from that farm. Humans will be eating the meat, and we have the hides recycled back into the soil, and that makes for a good, like I say, good stimulus for the wolves. Grizzer heard what was going on in the exhibit pack. He did get a little himself, so he had to wait for a little bit. But one thing about Grizzer, he doesn't have to worry about something coming and taking his cache. You can see by his nose he had cached his hide, and he had just decided to rest and wait until later. It was a little bit early in the day that this was fed, so he went back to it later that night. By the next day, he also had engaged in feeding on some of the hide and some of the excess meat. But for the most part, he is, like I say, extremely relaxed when it comes to just wolf care in the yard. That's the way he likes it. He likes the comfort and the ability to see both pens, but he really likes that, that ability to just relax. Over in retirement, a little bit more excitement. Shadow does one of his classic behaviors called a following behavior. He's actually following Malik, and Malik is going to whirl around a little bit and face off. This is a way that you intimidate a lower ranking wolf, by just following very closely behind them. And Shadow's good at it. So one thing you'll notice is that Shadow, again, typically is most dominant when it's just the two wolves interacting. So again, he's following Malik here. He's trying to do a sniff of the anal scent glands. Malik's ears are pricked sideways. Shadow's ears are pricked forward. So Shadow's clearly more comfortable in this situation because he's from behind. The other thing that is different between these two, Shadow is the really strong greeter. For wolf care staff, actually for myself, Shadow will always come up and greet, where Malik might be a little bit more reserved and a little bit more standoffish, so this is Shadow greeting here. But when it comes to food, nobody can defend like Malik. Well, maybe Luna. But Malik is doing a lip curl there, and I'm not sure if he's actually compressing his sinuses when he curls up his lip like that so much, but he always sneezes when he does that. Shadow's going to respect that. So even though Shadow's more dominant, food possession is separate from dominance hierarchy. And Shadow's going to give him a wide berth and allow him to lick on the hide popsicle, I guess is the best way to put it. And Malik's going to continue to do those threat displays, again, just to assert his posture. Notice his ears are kind of flat and to the side. It's a little intimidating doing a threat display to the more dominant wolf, but it does get his point across, and Shadow does respect it. And we did feed two, so that if Shadow had a chance to be able to drag one away, that the two of them could feed together. By the next day, things were pretty well scattered, and so we do know just from their bellies that they ate a little bit of it. There's still quite a bit left. We picked up some as well. But this is, again, a unique situation. This only happens once in the fall. And sometimes we'll do it with deer hides, where we give them a little bit of extra deer hide as well. But that's it. So, again, thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.